Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the FuzzFam channel, and I do mean welcome back. It's been a minute. We're over this by now, right? You guys understand how it is. I've set the expectation level very low, so you don't expect a video, right? As a quick recap for anybody that may be new here, I am living in my parents' basement.
What a surprise.
Except it's upstairs. The basement's actually down below. My sister lives down below with her family. We're doing really good as a family. There are reasons. And mine is we're building a house. We're building a house. It's going to be done next summer. Super excited for it. And my wife and kids are living with her mom because they can't all fit here right now because my sister's here. So we're separated during the week. I get to go up and see them on my days off. And I stay down here because it's closer to my work. Which, my work, by the way, if you couldn't tell, this is again for the new people, I'm a police officer in a metropolitan area in the state of Utah. Per the title of the video, you can probably tell I had an encounter with somebody that I didn't want to have an encounter with again. We're going to get to that one. But first, I had a blooper.
Another one?
When you have a blooper as a police officer, it's sometimes serious and sometimes it's not so serious. This is one that could have been really bad. It was in very bad taste, but I don't think it's going to turn into a big deal at all. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. She probably didn't even notice. One of the worst things that I think any police officer has to do as part of our job is a death notification, right? Are you kidding me? You have to go tell somebody that a family member or loved one has passed away, whether it's in an accident or whatever the cause is. It doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does matter. Some deaths are a little more tragic than others to some people, and it can be harder to tell them. But they always stink. Nothing good about that. And I've had to do my share in my job. This one was a message from the coroner's office out of a West Coast state, and they had a death, and they couldn't find any family member or kin. So they researched and worked on it all day long. And they found what they believed to be a sister in my area. So they sent me there it was kind of a weird death notification because they didn't really know 100% for sure that this was a family member of this person. So usually we know for sure, and it's a pretty straightforward, so-and-so, yeah, they've passed away. So this one was a little bit of feeling it out and then having to give them the bad news, so even worse. So I waited for a backup officer. They tell us in the academy when you do these, you always want to have two officers there. I'm sure there's a good reason psychologically for that. So I waited for another officer, went up to the door. She came to the door. I asked if she was the name of the person that we thought that she was. She said yes. And on these, we're taught you want to be very direct. You don't want to beat around the bush, which can be really easy to do, especially having done one before. You don't want to use words like no longer with us or this person has slipped away or something like that. You just want to come right out and say so-and-so has died. And I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you this. And so it was something like that. That's the way that I said it. She confirmed that, yes, that was her brother. And she handled it very well. Who knows what the relationship was like? You never know, but she handled it well. So she, like a lot of people usually do, had questions right away as far as what happened, and I can't even remember some of the other things that she asked. I gave her very basic information and then just told her, you want to talk to the coroner's office out there. That's the whole point of this. They wanted to get in touch with her to talk with her. The slip up, the blunder on my part, it's very, very small, but you guys will cringe probably right away and realize the bad taste. This is where, and I've said it before on this channel, words matter. Words matter. The words you use, when you use them, matters. So she was asking something about getting in touch with them, and I can't remember the exact wordage, but I told her they're there tonight. I know because I had just talked to them before coming to your home, so I'm sure you could reach them tonight if you wanted to wait till you were comfortable, processing this or whatever, and wait till tomorrow to call them, unless you're dying to call them tonight. Oh, yes. As soon as it slipped out of my mouth, if you're dying, come on, Fuzz. I didn't get any sense that she picked up on it or was offended by it, but it was just the wrong words to use. Obviously. Yeah, I'm the worst. I felt bad. And it could even be one of those things she processes after the fact. She's like, you won't believe. She'll tell her husband, you won't believe what that cop said. Then they'll add a few more signs to the yard and life goes on. Then that same night, in fact, I think it might have been the very next call right after that, I got called to assist another officer at a big apartment complex. This is like a 6-story. I know that doesn't sound very big. You'll get the point. It's big. It's big. It's a big apartment complex, and I got called to assist him on a welfare check on an apartment. Somebody in an apartment. Do I got any big pieces of dust on my shirt? Whenever I wear black and I go back to edit the videos, I always realize there was like a big piece of fluffy white cotton that settled on my shoulder. It's not dandruff. It's not dandruff. This video brought to you by Selsun Blue. Yes, everybody has noticed. So we get to this apartment complex to go check on this person, and it's big enough that it has an elevator. And of course, I go to use the elevator. It's the intelligent thing to do. This officer that I'm with is a much younger guy. It's getting to that point. Most of them are. It's a much younger guy, and he's on the SWAT team. He's a tactical machine, right? Yeah, pretty much what I used to be in my prime.
Except not.
Anyway, the elevator, I'm pushing the button, and I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I'm starting to panic because it's not coming. And this apartment we were going to check on this lady was the top floor. Now, everybody here knows I pride myself on staying in the best shape possible.
Except not.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I can hear you guys through the comments as you're watching this. If by the best shape possible, you mean eating as much Chick-fil-A every day as possible. Yeah. Funny. So I'm getting a little bit worried. And of course, it's broken. The elevator's broken. It's not coming. So I joke about having to take the stairs, and the officer I'm with is like, okay, he's probably preferring that anyway. So he heads right to the stairs. So, okay, I start following him. We get to like the 3rd floor. Okay, maybe like the second floor, halfway up the first, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I start feeling it. So by the time we get to the 5th, and we're wearing masks too, right? So by the time we get to the top level, I'm doing that thing where I'm trying to control my breathing so I sound like I'm good. My partner's walking in front of me and he's just fine. He's breathing totally normal. You can tell that he enjoyed every step of that. I'm dying and I'm about to keel over, but I try to hide it as best I can. I try not to breathe strongly out my mask, which makes it even harder to breathe. So I should be focusing on tactics and what we're doing when we get to the door and being aware of my surroundings. You know, instead I was just, thinking about Chick-fil-A, I guess, to be honest, how bad I needed one and how much better I'd feel. It was great. We got to the door. I made it. I didn't die. And they weren't home. Nobody was there. So we turned around and came back down. Coming down is fine. I don't have problems with my knees. Thank goodness I've got most of my health, and I made it back down on to the next. But as a good reminder, it probably wouldn't hurt me to do a couple sit-ups and a few push-ups every now and then, and maybe go for a jog here and there. That sounds terrible. I joke a lot, but physical fitness is very important for anybody, especially if you're law enforcement. Are you kidding me? I mean, you need to be in good physical shape. You never know when you're going to need to use endurance and have to fight somebody. Speaking of which, next call. We got called to one of the many homeless shelters in the city that I live. Wonderful places. I was called to assist another officer on this one. The wonderful thing about this is it wasn't even my area. It wasn't even the half of the city that I cover. And it was at the very start of one of my shifts. The reason I complain about this is more just an internal thing with my job that you'd have to, be in my job to probably fully appreciate. But it's the beginning of my shift. Everybody is signed on at the same time by a supervisor. Everybody goes 10:41, starting tour of duty. Right off the bat, I get called to switch channels and go to a completely different area of the city to back another officer on this call. Wait a minute! Everybody just signed on? You're telling me there's not one officer in that area available to go back this guy? Of course, the only reason I was probably complaining about it, besides the general fact that I suck to a certain degree, and I'm a little salty and old, I guess, in this job, is that it was at the homeless shelter. I had no desire to go there. With the Rona going strong, it's just a hotbed for that stuff. And come to find out, my concerns were valid. So we go, we arrive, he's already inside trying to talk to this person. I didn't mention the call information. It was a psych problem with a aggressive person that was suicidal and or threatening other people. So they needed to go to the hospital for a psych evaluation and were refusing to go. So we get there and, you would hope that this is like a petite, small person that if we need to force to go somewhere, it's not going to be a huge deal. Not that those people can't be crazy strong with the right cocktail in their system, believe me. But I get there and walk around the corner trying to find a good comparison. This was a female, and has anybody seen Malcolm in the Middle, the show? Malcolm in the Middle with the gal up in Alaska.
You're going down, college boy.
That is a decent description, except this woman was bigger and stronger, but she was just as fiery. She was, this redheaded, fiery Viking, for lack of a better word. She was a freaking Viking. She clearly needed to be checked out by somebody, and there was a caseworker, a mental health crisis worker there on scene who had already filled out the commitment paperwork. So it wasn't even up to us to decide, our discretion. It had been decided they were a danger to themselves and other people. They needed to go to the hospital. We were just there to make it happen. And this is just another perfect example of people wanting to defund the police and get rid of them. Yeah, good luck. Good luck to all the crisis workers, because this guy standing over in the corner in his shorts and his Bermuda Hawaiian t-shirt or button-up shirt. You want to see him try to get Helga the Viking up to the hospital? Yeah, that'd be great. Get the popcorn. So, of course, we're there to do the dirty work, and we start talking to her, try to convince her to go. We almost get there. I almost get her. I said something that got her to agree to go. And then the paramedics showed up, or the ambulance showed up with the stretcher, and she saw that stretcher, and it was a trigger. She stood up. She's like, nope, I'm done with you guys. Again, using rated G language. I'm done with you guys. I'm not going anywhere. She gets up to leave. So we've got to go hands-on. So we're wearing gloves. We're wearing masks. We started doing the do-si-do. Started doing the ending up on the ground. We didn't use any weapons. We didn't use any devices. We just used our hands, trying to get her in handcuffs. Eventually, we were able to get her in handcuffs. But as we were doing the do-si-do, she was continuing to talk and yell and spit. And that was going everywhere. And after we got her into the ambulance, my partner was taking an alcohol wipe and wiping his face. It was burning his eyes, and that's the first time I realized he had taken a face full of spit.
Oh, that's nasty.
So she got off to the hospital. All is well, right? Until a few hours later, we got a call from the hospital from a doctor telling us that that she had come back positive for you know what. Fantastic. So I had to go decontaminate everything on my body, all my equipment, which wasn't entirely bad because I hadn't cleaned off that vest ever since I got it. Like, there was pieces of Chick-fil-A down in the
that's
pot.
nasty.
That's not important. I cleaned it off. I cleaned everything off, and I got put on quarantine for 7 days. Yep, 7 days quarantine. I had to go home. I had to work from the office, which in and of itself is not a terrible thing for a little break from the road, except I had like $1,500 worth of part-time jobs lined up starting that next day. Had to give up all of them because I wasn't allowed to go work them. So I lost quite a bit of money out of pocket because of this gal. Long story short, I got tested, and we talk about this in some of our family vlogs that I haven't edited and put on YouTube yet, but I got tested. I stayed here. My mom insisted on bringing me food just like I was a prisoner, and I was a prisoner in this room. It was really nice, but I got tested and I was negative, thank goodness. So was my partner. I don't know how he didn't catch it because she was positive, and he got a face full of spit, remember? And neither of us got it somehow. So blessings on blessings on blessings. The very next day, I went back to one of my part-time jobs, happens to be at a Wal-Mart. Guess who comes walking up to ask me how to make a report for her stolen purse?
Did you miss me?
Yes, it's Helga. As she's walking up to me, I was like, I know this woman looks familiar. My memory's that bad. Like, I'm getting old enough that, and I meet a lot of people, so it's tough sometimes. I can't quite place it. I know her, and about the time she gets to me and opens her mouth, I realize who it is. I immediately stopped her and asked her to step far away. I was like, you are the woman we had to fight with that had corona, and I ended up on quarantine because of. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm not contagious anymore. So how about this purse? How do I report this? She didn't skip a beat. She just kept going right into why she was there. And I was just like, you know what? Like, you did not have to fight with us. I don't think you understand how much it disrupted my life. Like, look, you can go online and make a report for your purse, but listen. And I kept going back to the fighting thing and kind of chewing her out a little bit. She She did not care one bit. She says, fine, I'll do it online. Walked away, and she left. Alrighty, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed my stories. I swear, if I had something like stuck in my facial hair, can't really call this a beard yet, but that's just going to be my luck.